Oh man. It has been 25 years since Donkey Kong Country has come out. This game is the exact same age as me. I was born in 94. Oh, what to say on this? This is a pretty special GWC Plays for me. So growing up, this was my game. I loved Donkey Kong Country. There it is, 1994 Nintendo. Like, every time I hear this little intro, just like it gets me so pumped up. It's just like, oh, it gets me right there in the heart. I'm just like, oh yeah, Donkey Kong Country. So yeah, I'm gonna play this game. I'm gonna talk about my experiences growing up through it, the Donkey Kong series as a whole, the character, a little bit of the development, and I don't know. Oh, we got some stuff to talk about. Oh, but first, I gotta bring up this soundtrack to this game. David Weiss, like, he knocked it out of the park in this game. The soundtrack in this game, in Donkey Kong Country 2, in Donkey Kong, like, in any game David Weiss touches a soundtrack, it is gonna be great. Like, I'm gonna get into the soundtrack, like this first one, Jungle Japes. Like this is the iconic theme right here. This is pretty much like how Mario has the overworld, and that's his theme with the dun 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 dun, and that's his main signifier theme. Jungle Japes is the same equivalent for Donkey Kong. I hear those drums starting up, and it's just, you know it's coming. And it is still like it's a great piece. It's a great song. I still remember the moment. Boy, it's still one of my favorite E3 like moments. It's in my top 10 list. I probably mentioned it when I did I believe it was for 2017, my E3, 2018, my E3 playlist. I watched the Nintendo conference 2010, which is the conference where they revealed Donkey Kong Country Returns. And when that intro music starts and you just like, you know what it is, like that's the key of a successful like theme for a character, when you can just hear the theme and you automatically know what it is. If you're hearing music and it's like, wait, what's that? Who's that for? But you hear this, you know it's overdrive time. It's Donkey Kong. And that was a great moment. God, I was so excited when that got revealed. God, and that was such a good. God, and David Weiss too. Now I'm not gonna go in here yet because I want to let this music play out, because there's a certain part to it that like I love. Oh. Well, I guess I just don't get to listen to it. Don't worry, we'll get another chance. Actually, I could just wait here. Oh, well, because I can also bring up something while I wait for this theme to play. So this game was kind of, for the time, pretty revolutionary. And I'm obviously speaking of this kind of looking at it like from back then, because obviously I was barely one when this game came out. Yeah, I would have been like 4 weeks old at this point. So I obviously wasn't playing this game. I didn't fully play it till I was like maybe 3 or 4. But it was pretty revolutionary for the time, with the use of how they handled the sprites in this game. Since unlike a traditional Super Nintendo game, rather than going more towards sprite-based, they did a thing of converting 3D models down to sprites that they could use, which is why this game has more like a really expressive 3D look to it. And in all honesty, I mean, this game still holds up. Like, I still think this game looks good. Now, obviously, people are like, this game looks bad. You know, it doesn't look like Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like, well, if you compare it to like that, And obviously, yeah, it's not a Red Dead Redemption 2 type game, but just the whole look of it with the 3D kind of models and how it looked, it just has such a nice look to it. And I've always really appreciated just their approach to it. Because it really was, like, looking at this game compared to everything else on the Super Nintendo, it really does stand out. And the soundtrack definitely helps. This is the part I was talking about. Like, when it hits here, this is the part of the song no one ever is, like, talking about. But this is the best part right here. Like, this little part comes in with the... Like, man, David Weiss did not play around with this soundtrack. Oh, I guess I can't go back. All right, well, we'll end the level here, but I just wanted to get to this part at least. And this dynamic thing too of just like as you progress through the level, it starts off at sunset, and then when you finish it, it goes to dark. Like, that's such a small detail, but it's so cool. Because not a lot of games on Super Nintendo did that. Like, there are a few that maybe did that, but, like, it's those small details that really, in the end, make it so good. Ropey Rampage. And there is something you can do. I forgot. It's like, if you, like, keep clicking, you can, like, skip a few levels, but... I've never been consistent with it, but we're not skipping stuff yet. I don't know how far I'm gonna get. I am a bit limited on my time, sadly, and honestly, I'm not gonna play like 2 hours of this game. I could, but I want to keep it concise for those people who maybe have never played this game and who want to play it for themselves. Which you know, there's nothing stopping you now. The game just turned 25. It's like now is the ample time to play it. Any time is actually good to play Donkey Kong Country. Like, you know, some games have like, oh, you know, this is like a winter type game. This is more of like a spring game. Like this game you can play anytime. Like this game is good in winter. It's good in fall. It's good in summer. It's good in general. Like it's just overall really well made game and platformer. Like this era of Rare, this is where Rare really kicked into overdrive and everybody. Like from this point, Donkey Kong Country. Then when you move to N64, Rare becomes a powerhouse. And they already have been a powerhouse because they've had David Weiss and all the members who are working on this game who are still like working on good games. Like Playtonic, now half the members who worked on this game are in Playtonic, who worked on Banjo. And the latest ukulele game is pretty much Donkey Kong Country type, with a side scroller, but playing more in lieu of this style of game. And the thing I loved is the consistency. And just, well, I mentioned a little bit ago, the dynamic, how when you start this level off, it's night, and as you get to the end, now the sun's starting to rise, compared to when you started Jungle Hijinks. See, it's stuff like that. It's so cool. I can just gush about this stuff for like 100 hours. Like, it's just so many cool little details in this game. Of course, I got to do Cranky's Cabin, the best character in this game. This theme too. Oh, terrestrial. And I will still go with that theory. I think I mentioned up on my Donkey Kong 64 GWC Plays, but the theory that Cranky Kong is the Donkey Kong from the arcade title, which that has been confirmed. I believe that's brought up in a Nintendo official manual somewhere. Oh, this game plays too much for me. And one thing I also need to bring up that's kind of cool. Getting back to music, which I'm gonna be talking about a lot. Like this level has good theme, but there was actually something interesting I saw a few years ago, and it was that somebody did a restoration project, and what they did was they managed to find the original software or whatever program David Wise was using, and found all the original sound like libraries and templates, and note for note reconstructed the songs the way they originally meant with the original sound files he worked with. So you're getting to hear like Jungle Japes' theme, but like uncompressed, because obviously when he made the tunes, he was probably doing it on a computer and then had to compress it down to fit on a Super Nintendo cartridge, which at that point you're gonna lose a lot of compression. You're gonna go through a lot of compression to get it to fit on there, and it's gonna sound vastly different compared to like on a CD file. So hearing it kind of reconstruction, hearing the different elements there, it kind of throws me off for a bit, because it's like, it's kind of, so you can kind of hear certain parts that maybe were quieter and while playing it on Super Nintendo that are now like more apparent. Okay, this part's really cool, but and then this little change here, like that's what I love about David Weiss's stuff. Like it like the themes and how they change. Like, oh, that was weird. Like this part, God, it sounds so cool. It sucks I died because it's such a good part. It's like this is like the iconic music. But if I am fast, I should be able to get to another one. But I'm also not trying to speed run this. I want to at least take my time and discuss what I can at length, because there still is a lot. But kind of what I was getting that it's just like the way he structures his music, with like how it'll start one way and then kind of have this like dramatic change in the middle, which I feel like it's almost timed in a way where as you get further in a level, it gets more intense. That's how I feel. But I don't know, it's just thematic how he does it. And speaking here, this track alone, this track is some of the finest music on this game. This, to me, like there's a lot of great music in the Donkey Kong Country series, like great songs, but this to me is, if I had to put a ranking of like my all-time favorite piece, it has to fall to Aquatic Ambiance. Like this is one of the first songs I ever learned on piano, that I learned just by ear. And I don't know, something about this piece, it always has stuck with me. It's just a really, really nice song. And it kind of does the thing, it starts off kind of like light, and then it gets those little strings to add a little unease with that little back. Like, I'm sorry, it's just turning into more of a music GWC Plays, but I'm talking more about the music, but it's hard not to bring up the music with these games. There's just great soundtracks. On the topic of just like this song, like, I remember a few years ago I was planning on doing a YouTube series and like a video. I was gonna do like top 10 video game water themes, which was gonna be a hard list to make because there's so many to pull from. Like it would have taken me a long time to like get down. But I know for sure this game, this piece is probably somewhere in the top 3. I don't know where, but it's somewhere. Yeah, honestly, that track is perfect. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. All right, Barrel Canyon, which I always love that little tongue twister there. some people are gonna say, "Oh, you're cheating. You're using a shortcut." It's like no. They put it there for a reason. It's fair game. I don't like when people are like that. Like, oh, you cheated. You used a shortcut. Like, hey, the developers put it in there for a reason. Like you're gonna get mad at somebody. Hey, get mad at them. They put it in there. It's like, hey, you test this game for like 20 hours. Like, I want to get to this level faster to get to the end. Put a little shortcut in there. Now, if I skip the entire level, maybe then I could then hear something. But it's not. This theme's so good. Kind of keeping on to the music one, but in a different direction. Like, there is still really good video game music being made. Like, there's a lot of really good composers, like new and old, that are still working on games and different things. But I feel like a soundtrack like this, you don't really see too much of anymore. Like, I don't know. Like, it's still there, but like it's very different. Like, I feel like now for certain types of games, they're going more towards an orchestral type of sound for it to make it more cinematic. Because like, obviously, when I play Last of Us Part 2, you're not gonna have a theme like this in the game because thematically it's not gonna fit. But I feel like even for someone like some platformers in certain games that have more of like a kind of cartoonish aesthetic, it's even kind of going far away from something like this. But even if it's doing something different, at least if they put in effort and they're like, hey, I want to really make something special, then I'm cool. The issue comes when you see composers and like some of them, they feel like, man, they really phoned this in. Like, I feel like these tracks are kind of like pointless. Like, there is one Sonic game. I don't remember the name of it, but I had a conversation with a friend about it. We were talking about this video game final bosses. And he was like, hey, have you heard the final boss of this Sonic game on DS? I was like, no. And like, no hyperbole. It truly was like one of the worst final boss games. I was like, I actually would be mad if I got to the end of the game and this is what like they decided to end it on. It sounded like they phoned it in and just said, oh, you know, put this sound here, put this sound here. Anything else? Nah, we're good. We don't need anything else. It was exactly like that. And it's like, why even do that at this point? Like, put effort into it. Like I have a lot of respect for video game composers because they have to compose a lot of music. Like, you're composing in some tracks like 100 or more songs, and each song has to fit a theme or a mood or something. Like regular music, it's an art to it, and it's not an easy job. So I understand that there's some issues, but like at least try. Like put some effort in. Like don't half-ass it and then be like, oh well, you know, it's on the game. It's like, no. It's like no, David Weiss didn't say, you know, I'm just gonna do this track. I don't need to do anything else to it. Like, no, he was like, oh, I'm gonna do some extra stuff to it. It's like Grant Kirkhope, but like, I don't need to get in because I've brought him up 1,000 times on this channel. You already know my thoughts on Grant Kirkhope. Just go watch any of the Banjo Kazooie GWC Play videos. But I guess now I should probably stop talking about music because that's all I've been talking about. I'd actually get to some gameplay stuff finally. Now, as a kid, it took me, I don't know, and I can't pinpoint the exact time when I beat this game, because I did struggle for a while in this game. This game did give me some trouble at first. It took me a while to even get to like World 2. I was stuck in the first world for a while. I couldn't get past the canyon level. It just gave me so much trouble back then. But obviously, I was like 4 or 5 when I played it, so like I can't really say too much. There's a lot of games I was bad at. Like Mario 3, I could get past World 1 at a young age, but I can never beat World 8. Like, it took me a long time before I could beat that game. This level is also a favorite of mine too. But boy, near the end, there's a certain part that gets me every time. Even though I've played it a bunch, it still gets me. My palms still do get a little sweaty playing that level. Like, even though it's like, I know it's like the Kremlin's coming, get ready. But every time I think I'm ready, I jump too early. But now getting back to like just rare in this game. Rareware, sorry. At this point, they're rareware. But to me, like these like the Donkey Kong series, you do hear in platformers like Diddy Kong Quest, like the second one. That one is brought up, like regarded as like one of the best ones out there. Which that is a great game. Now, I will say my personal favorite is probably original Donkey Kong Country. And that, in most cases, it probably is more due to nostalgia for me. Because this is the one I really played a lot of back then. I didn't get Diddy Kong 2 for a while. So this was just the only game I had. Actually, I wonder if I should try that thing. Oh. I always forget the angle. Yeah, if there's a certain barrel down there, if you do that, it skips like the entire level pretty much. But I'll do the full thing, legit. Well, no, I've always picked this one. Now my ranking for the Donkey Kong series, it would probably go, if I was to do it right now, and I'm talking mainline Donkey Kong games. Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Country 2, Tropical Freeze, 3, and Returns. And that, keep in mind, all the games are great. I really enjoyed Country. Tropical Freeze, I need to play that on its own. I don't want to get too much into it, but all I will say is, if I was to do a top 10 list of the top 10 games of the decade, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is on there. That to me, that game, he must not jump. I shouldn't go for the bananas. That game is, it is a damn good platformer, and it put a lot of platformers to shame. When that game came out, I was like, this is the best platformer I've played in like decades. Or I could say decade, but I was like, man, like people need to step up. And thankfully now more platformers are coming out. But I was like, God dang, this game is so good. But then people are complaining too. Like, I remember GameSpot, their review of that game, I still will like I don't base anything on reviews and that. But I remember that GameSpot review, I was like, it didn't sit right with me. It was like, I got like a 6. Which, a 6 isn't a bad score, but it's like, I don't see it as a 6. Like, I could maybe see for that person, like, maybe like a 7. Wrong one. I could maybe see like a 7, but like a 6, and like the reasonings behind certain things, it was like, it's like this game feels like it came right out of the 90s. No checkpoints, hard difficulty, bad platforming. I was like, okay, come on. God dang it. That's not the criminal that gets me. See if I can get it this time. That review was just like, man, it just never sat right with me. You know what's not sitting right with me right now? This level, I keep dying. I know the GameSpot guy, he's probably playing this. He's like, no checkpoints, no thank you. Although I will say that the bosses in that game were actually pretty tough because there wasn't any checkpoint on those bosses, and some of those bosses went on for a while. Like the final boss, a Tropical Freeze, is a super long fight. I got it. That's the one that always gets me. That final one, every time, just tears me up to shreds. So I'm happy at least I was able to get past them. And we're back to the caves again. That theme, the sneaky theme. They had a little physics with like the wheel and turning it. See, they had some cool. Said they had some cool stuff they were doing in this game. Oh, yeah, like I said, some really cool stuff.
So let's get on with Bouncy Bonanza.
Hey, cool. You know, one thing I also forgot to bring up too. This game had a port. Like, you don't really hear too much about it these days now, but this game was ported on Game Boy, original Game Boy. It was the yellow cartridge. It's very easy cartridge to like scoop out because it's just there's not a lot of yellow Game Boy carts out there. But I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Like the port pretty much. It's pretty faithful. It's got like an additional level in it. Now, I don't really play too much of Donkey Kong Land, which is what it's called. And it's really because like the screen is super zoomed in. Like I will give them, it's pretty impressive to get this game running on a Game Boy. And the music actually is surprisingly like faithful. Now, of course, it's not like this. Like, oh, it sounds nothing like this. But like, if you're expecting a Game Boy sound chip to sound anything like a Super Nintendo one, you're expecting a little too much now. Wow, this Game Boy game doesn't sound like a PS2 game. And I know I said I was done talking about music on this, but there is a correction I need to make. So I had to take a quick 5-minute break. I was like, let me look something up real quick. So I was giving David Weiss a lot of the credit, and he did compose most of the tracks in this game, but there's also Evelyn Fisher who worked on some of them, and Robin Beanland, who Conquered Bad Fur Day, he did that. He was a part of the Rare team, which I didn't know that he did. Was like kind of consulted and worked on some of the tracks in this game. He was like, hey, Robin Beanland, I'm doing kind of bad right now. Robin Beanland has some pretty cool stuff. Like Conquered Bad Fur Day has a really good like soundtrack, and even some of the later stuff for Rare. Like I know he still is working there. He still is the sound person there. He worked on Sea of Thieves, which I haven't actually seen too much of Sea of Thieves because I don't have an Xbox One. But music seems pretty alright. And I'm not trying to get into like the Rare wars where it's like, oh, who's the best composer at Rare? It's like it's hard. It's like Grant Kirkhope and David Wise are amazing. It's like it. I don't want to get in that discussion. They're just both both really good composers, and Robin Beamon as well. Like rare throws down when it comes to the music department. All right, on my favorite level. Time to just skip 90% of it. This level freaked me out as a kid. I could never play it. Like, it scared me. I would usually get my sister to like play this level because like I didn't want to do it. And you know, I still don't like doing this level. And you know, it is still kind of creepy. But I can at least play it now. Right, candy save point. I remember like my old cartridge for a long time, it wouldn't save, so I had to keep starting over. I think it doesn't save anymore, because I haven't played my original cart in a long time. But I feel like it doesn't save, so if I want to play this game on the original hardware, I have to beat it in one sitting. Which I kind of do still like doing for some games. Like, I do enjoy, like, it's like, you know, I'll sit down and play this in one sitting just for fun. And you also have noticed I probably, like, I use Diddy Kong a lot. I just like the speed and just everything. Like, while Donkey Kong is good, I always preferred Diddy for this game. Wait, and this theme? Like, this theme is so good. Like I said, it's just that feeling of the level, just like that Egyptian type like sound, like they went off in this game musically. You know, speaking of because it's kind of like Aztec type, Mayan type environment. So on the day I'm releasing this video, it is also another anniversary for Donkey Kong, and it's a game I've already played on GWC Plays. Donkey Kong 64 is now, I believe, 18 years old. Or actually, I think it's 20 years old today, which is nuts. And you already know if you already watched my GWC Plays on that one, which I recommend, that was a really good one. And I do want to come back to that game. I did mention maybe coming back to it later on. I do want to. But Donkey Kong 64 is a game that gets so much hate over the years, but I think is actually a really, really good game. It has some flaws here and there, but overall as like a package, I think it's a really, really good one. Grant Kirkhope, like, on point with the music in that game. Like, DK Isles is an amazing, like, just theme, and all the world themes that are in there, and even the gameplay. Like, I'm a sucker for collectathon type games. Like when Yooka-Laylee was announced for the from the creators of Banjo-Kazooie, a collectathon game. I was like, collectathon, collecting a lot of items over a long play time. That's my kind of game. And even Yooka-Laylee, I liked that game. I feel like I was the only one who was kind of like, you know, Yooka-Laylee's pretty good. Everyone else was really like either on the fence about it or were just like, no. Trying not to die. Trying not to die. Really, really, really just trying not to die. But believe me, I will be getting into, oh God, I don't know how I made that jump. But I will be getting into Yooka-Laylee at some point because I should play that for this. Talk about it more in depth. But yeah, getting back to DK64, I really enjoy that game. Like, I just think it has a lot of cool, I don't know, something about just how that game is. It always, like, stuck with me. Like, I remember I rented that game, like, 100 times. 64-bit, hey! Perfect transition talking about Donkey Kong 64. Cranky new. All graphics and, hey, you know what? They do say that nowadays. Because, there are a lot of games now. The graphics look great, but it's like, where are the games at? God, Crank's telling the truth. This all applies now to some games. Ghosts and Goblins? God, Cranky was speaking some truth there. There are a lot of games where it's like, man, I really want to play this game, but it's like, where's the gameplay at? I know some people are trying to say Death Stranding, like, oh, Death Stranding, when are you gonna play the game? It's all cutscenes. It's like, no. There's gameplay there. It's like people say Last of Us. Last of Us isn't a game, it's a cinematic movie. It's like, do you use the controller to shoot things and walk around? Yeah. It's a game. Do you do actions and have, like, actually challenge yourself in different things? Yeah. You're playing the game. It's like, what's the game? Okay. You walk around. Okay, are there any puzzle mechanics? No. What do? You just walk around. Which, I know I shouldn't get into the topic of like what they call walking simulators. Which people say Death Stranding is. It's like, no. You walk a lot in that game, but it ain't a walking simulator. Cause I just felt the difference between like the walking simulator and different things is that they fall under more of like that is like the game. It's more for like the walking is the story and everything else. But the only thing I feel with those kind of games, the story has to be good. That's my only thing with the walking simulators. Sometimes the stories are kind of just and it's like it doesn't give me that incentive to keep going. Like if the story was great, then I'd be like, oh, I'll play that. And believe me, coming from somebody who has played almost every Hideo Kojima game and has sat through the ending of Metal Gear Solid 4 multiple times, an ending that is 90 minutes, feature-length film time, many times, I can sit through like story-heavy things. It all depends on what it is exactly. And getting onto this one, this world, this is where the game really started to kick in overdrive. Like the last level was really tough for me as a kid. I struggled a bit, but I was like, I beat it finally. Then I got here, and now the game was just like kicking my ass. It's taking me to shreds. I was like, what happened? I was doing kind of good. And then this is that point where your timing needs to be like spot on. Every time I hear this song, I can't help but think about that video with the Godzilla dancing, because they're set to this theme. And I'll do a correction, because I said when I was mentioning the design of like the 3D models, it pre-rendered. I said it's like turning them into sprites. That was more of a misspeak. Which you should come to expect that on GWC Plays. I'm going to be talking off the top of my head, and words are going to come out that may be right and they may be wrong. And it's not until I get to editing where I'm like, why did I say that? Cause I'm just going. See, if I had like a pen and paper, I was taking notes, and I was like, okay, well, I have this I could talk about, and it's like it wouldn't be the same. Your timing has to be spot on for these. Like, I feel these barrel scenes like really like because in Donkey Kong 64 there's a lot of barrel like kind of mini games you have to do where you have to like go from one barrel to the other, and playing these games have made them like easy. Like don't even get me started on Tropical Freeze. The barrel sections in that game are relentless. Like it's really tough. Vulture Culture and Treetop Town, which this is a cool level. And his music too is really good. But also, this level can get really hard too. Like I said, this is the world of barrels. Your timing at this point, like at the beginning, your timing could have been just like, you can kind of be sloppy and still get through. Now it's like, nope, you better be straight on, because now it's coming fast and you're having to dodge stuff with it. Like, the thing I loved about Donkey Kong Country, at least, like they had difficulty to them, and like the Country series, like there are parts, like the games can become difficult at times, but it was always fair. Like it was never like impossible difficulty. Like there are some platformers out there that are like that, where it's like super unfair to the player, and like putting in like certain things where like the first time through, it's like, well, you would never know that like there's gonna be something coming. Oh fuck, I forgot about that one. I always forget about that barrel there. And I'm happy I almost would have forgot this, and I would have been mad at myself if I didn't. Because I'm not gonna make it to King K. Rool. Like I probably am not gonna beat this game in this sitting. Right? Fuck, why'd I do that again? But I was so ecstatic when King K. Rool was in Smash Brothers. Like, I remember a long time ago there was this. It was because back in the 2000s, people had all these fake Smash predictions, and like they put like these fake rosters. I remember there's a pretty big one, and it was like King K. Rool was on there. I was like, even back then I was like, oh, don't play with me. Like, you put King K. Rool and I'm done. And when King K. Rool was announced, I was so ecstatic. I was like, I cannot believe this. Like I haven't seen this character in so many years. A character I actually did want in Smash. Like some people were kind of like, which I don't know, some people get weird on Smash stuff where people are like, terrible reveal. I was so happy for King K. Rool. I was like, I'm like perfect. I was like, and I was just so happy to see like everyone's like, hey, King K. Rool's back. It's like that's what I've been saying about Smash. Like Smash will like it brings these dead characters back. Like Banjo, like I don't have to play that clip again. Like go watch my reaction to Banjo being in Smash. Like I teared up. It wasn't a joke. It was like, it's like I didn't think this was gonna happen, but that was also another kind of special thing, because it was like, I've been wanting Banjo in Smash since Melee. I was like, man, Banjo would be pretty perfect in Smash. And then it happened, so I was pretty ecstatic. So like the same thing, because like Banjo, Kazooie, and Tooie was like a favorite of mine back then as a kid. And Donkey Kong Country was a favorite of mine as a kid too. I played this game a whole bunch, especially like the 2-player co-op. Like me and my sister played this game like all the time. So it's like, man, like I'm loving all these rare characters. Like hey, add some more. I know people like kind of take it as a joke, but I always bring up DK64 stuff. I'm like, you know what? Chunky wouldn't be that bad, or Lanky. If they could find a way to put them, I wouldn't object. You already know that if they're gonna put them in, they better put the original DK rap, not that Melee one. That was the most offensive thing when I got Melee, and they had DK rap, but it was like that cover version. It's like, and it goes to that little beatbox that when it starts, like that beat comes in. I'm like, this isn't the right one. Put the original in. I want to hear the Grant Kirkhope vocals. And you could have just had him re-record like for like one hell of a guy. Like one heck of a guy just sounds one heck of a guy. Yeah, my luck. But the one great thing, at least being on Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of Donkey Kong Country stuff. like a lot of development photos and different things and concept art, since I follow most of the people who worked on this game, and they've been posting it like, oh, here's some concept art, here's a photos of development, or us working in the software to make the 3D models. So it's been pretty cool, and everyone's been talking about Donkey Kong. I think like on Twitter yesterday it was like World of Donkey Kong Day, which was pretty sick. Like, I was like, as it should be. And I'm happy, like Retro Studio, like I'm happy they came in and brought Donkey Kong Country back, and they were the perfect team to do it. They got David Weiss back for music, so that's a plus, but they got the feeling and just the level design of the games perfect. Like Country Returns and Tropical Freeze, like even though they're not made by Rare or any of the past team members, they have the exact same feeling as playing these games. The level design and everything, like that's really like the level design in those games are crazy, especially Tropical Freeze. Like that game is like design 101 for platforming for me. Just like Mario, like which if you're making a video game, like Mario is obviously like the point to look at first for looking at examples of how to do platformers or like how to structure your levels and the level design and like making things fair for the player and making it fun to actually play in, because things can be difficult but then just not fun. Like that's the issue, is like there's like certain really hard levels in Mario, but the thing with them is that they're still fun to play in. Like they're not difficult where it's a chore. Like that's bad level design, where it's hard and it's just like a chore to get through. Like you're not having fun. Like the fun of the hard stage is like it's difficult, but it's like it's fair. So it's like all the stuff is on your own end there. And I finally beat it. Nice. But I feel that's the kind of good point for that. Should I keep going? You know, I think I will call it right here. I'll say this theme. I gotta wait for that one part. Hi-ya! Like that's this theme is so good. But yeah, no, I'm happy also that Funky Kong was in Tropical Freeze. That was pretty cool. I thought for sure he was going to be in Smash at some point. And Dixie Kong, I'm surprised hasn't been in there yet. But, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun talking about this game. And there's probably a lot more I could mention, too. Because the thing is, like, I could mention a lot more other than, like, just Donkey Kong Country as a whole. There's so much else that I could kind of go into outside of just this game and the character and just the whole like game surrounding him. Like Donkey Kong is up there as one of my favorite video game characters. Like it's such an just iconic character and an iconic series, and Rare really like brought this character a whole new life, and that's pretty much the great thing with it. Like who knows a world where Rare didn't make this and Donkey Kong just kind of stayed as just like a Nintendo character who kind of does his thing, but didn't have the platform base. Like it wouldn't have been the same. And these country games were pretty influential. There's so many things I've seen in other games that have come directly from country, and at least have some kind of base root of inspiration from it. Like they were pretty landmark games back then. Like 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I'm gonna include 3. I know some people really dismiss that one, but that one is good. It's not as great as the first 2, but it's still a good game. And yeah, 25 years it has been with this game. And see, another 25 years, I'm sure this game, when it hits 50, god dang. When I turn 50, it'll be the same year as Donkey Kong Country. That's crazy. But I will be there, and I'm sure this game is still gonna be there as well. Still gonna be just as good, because this game aged like fine wine. Gameplay is still fun, the music and everything. Like, this is still a game I feel could still appeal to a lot of people. Like, you could put this game in front of like somebody young who's never played it, and I still feel they would enjoy it. And even somebody who plays like maybe more newer stuff game-wise, like I feel this game still have a lot of things going for it that still make it fun, accessible, and cool. And there's my favorite thing right there. Like, it's still so cool. And it's that perfect transition, because it starts off here, then it goes dark, so when you go to the next level, it's raining, then the sun's at, like, oh, perfect. But I'm gonna call right here because I'm just rambling now. But that is Donkey Kong Country. It's a landmark game. It's a favorite of mine. I hope it's a favorite of yours. If you really have never played it, I recommend, like, a super high recommendation. It's overall just a really fun game to play. So that's gonna be it for me here. Thank you for watching my Donkey Kong Country retrospective. There's obviously a lot more of Donkey Kong I need to get through, because I still have to play Donkey Kong Country 2 and talk about that game. I gotta talk about Donkey Kong Country 3. I gotta talk about Donkey Konga, Donkey Konga 2, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, Country Returns, Tropical Freeze. Like, the list goes on. So we've got a long list to get through Donkey Kong stuff. But we'll see when that time comes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.